Imagine this. You've just lost your family in the most devastating way possible. The person you love feels more like a stranger. And then you step into a world where people finally see your pain, where they cry with you, where they promise meaning in all the chaos. It feels comforting, it feels intoxicating, but there's a catch. To belong, you might have to burn everything else down. That's the horror of Midsommar. Most horror movies hide in the shadows. Midsommar does the opposite. It blinds you with sunlight, covers you in flowers, and smells while it kills. And somehow, in all that brightness, you start to wonder, is this really horror, or is it freedom? The interesting thing is that the film doesn't start with folklore or cults. It starts with grief. It starts with Danny, and the most gut-punching, suffocating tragedy you could imagine. Her sister's murder-suicide that kills their parents is the darkest scene in the whole film, and notice how Ari Aster stages it. The camera slowly lingers on that tube, the exhaust hissing, the parents asleep in silence. It's methodical, it's cold, no music to soften the blow. Right away, we're told this isn't just about ghosts or witches, this is about trauma that doesn't ever leave. And Danny doesn't just have grief, she carries it. She carries it in every scene throughout the movie. You hear it in her crying, that guttural animalistic sound that Florence Pugh gives us. It's not just polished, it's ugly. It sets the stage for the entire film. Now, the comedic side of this movie is that Christian is possibly the worst boyfriend in horror movie history. The thing is, in horror, there's always someone that you hate. But Christian, he's special. He's not evil, he's not abusive in the obvious sense. He is just weak, spineless, and that's what makes him so terrifying. The way he treats Danny's grief says everything. He doesn't comfort her, he manages her. He doesn't support her, he avoids her. He stays with her out of obligation, not love. And when you look at him through that lens, the whole trip to Sweden wasn't just about folklore. It's about Danny realizing she's with someone who would let her drown just to avoid an awkward conversation. Aster doesn't just demonize Christian, he just shows you the type of person who can slowly suffocate you emotionally without even realizing it, and that's scarier than ever. One of the key cyclical beauties of the movie is that it's actually horror in daylight. Daylight horror is one of the most unsettling parts of Midsommar, and how it never hides. Everything's out in the open. The cliffs, the rituals, the dancing, they happen before sunlight. Usually horror films weaponize darkness. Here, the terror is impossible to escape because you see everything. The cult doesn't sneak around. They're proud of their rituals. Their smiles won't do it. And there's something so deeply disturbing about violence happening without secrecy when horror is celebrated as a tradition. This film horror on its head. The monsters aren't in the shadows. They're in plain sight. And maybe that's the whole point. The real monsters in our RMI lives, rarely. They're the people who smile at us, the people that we trust. The rituals aren't just random shock value. They're structured, they mean something. They have a rhyme and a rhythm. The cliff sacrifice wasn't just a grotesque, it was purposeful. These elders weren't just victims in their eyes, they were completing their cycle. The ritualistic order is exactly what Danny doesn't have. Her family's death was random and meaningless. Here in this cult, death means something. It means everything. It's part of their community. It has rules, and if you've been living in chaos, rules can look comforting. That's where the horror gets interesting. The cult doesn't just scare Danny, it heals her in a very twisted way. What if the scariest thing wasn't just losing your family, or even being sacrificed in a cult? It was a real horror being trapped in a relationship who doesn't actually love you. Because in the daylight of Midsommar, horror wasn't just about hiding, it's about what's in front of you.